Hey guys, and welcome back to the Behind the Plate podcast, brought to you by 1IQ Sports. I'm Will. This is DJ. In case you forgot who we were, we are back. And it's been a couple weeks, and the Jays have been on an absolute tear for some stupid reason. So much has happened. I think the story of the month, though, is just Bowden Francis. That man is nuts. I think it's been 3 straight starts now where he's gone minimum 5 innings without a hit. But to quote Taylor Ward, he's hittable and not really special. So
yeah,
this coming from a 220 lifetime average.
yeah. And all I could say is I thank you, Will. This is 100% your doing, and we need to put some more negative energy out there because I don't know if you want to tell everybody what you said to me in Baltimore 3 starts ago before this started, but
I'll pull up the receipts. I don't mind.
Yeah.
If you want to keep them entertained while I pull it up.
What was it? I want to say 3-4 starts ago. He gave up 2 home runs in the first 3 innings, I think, against Baltimore, and obviously he struggled to start the season. And Will was ready to throw him off a cliff and demote him immediately. And then right after that message, he just becomes the best pitcher in the league. And I love it. And not only that, I think it's we have to mention our offense has legitimately been one of the best offenses in the league this month, or over the last I'd say month. We're hitting home runs, we're scoring runs, which is insane. So it's honestly been fun, but it's why now?
I agree.
Really, I don't know. We're tank, and now they're the best team ever.
Wednesday, August 7th, 5:18 p.m. The game started at 5:07. The text to DJ, Bowden is fucking dog shit. DJ replies, already? I go, every start. I think that'll be the one. He figures it out. Since then, he became the best pitcher in baseball. It's been a ride. But there was a legitimate reason behind it. It wasn't just get this bum off the team. He was struggling there, especially at the beginning of the year. Holy, I was one of the biggest Bowden truthers at the beginning of the year. I genuinely thought he was going to be a big guy throughout the year, going into that number 5 hole, taking over for Alek Manoah. He shit the bed, and then he went down. He developed a splitter, which I didn't really know about until his start in LA against the Angels. Right. And kind of since then, dude has been prime Randy Johnson. So shout out that. Literally the best pitcher in baseball since probably August 7th.
Since that text. Yeah.
Basically, since that text, he has been the best pitcher in baseball. He has won the AL Pitcher of the Month. He has had a no-hitter into the 9th inning, multiple no-hitters into the 5th inning. He went 15 innings against the Angels, gave up 2 hits. So fuck you. And then he dogged out in Chicago, did it in Boston.
Right.
And I mean, the big test is tomorrow against Philly. That's a big lineup. That's not a lineup with Taylor Ward in it. That's a lineup with Bryce Harper. Although he's hitting like Taylor Ward right now. But
I mean,
it's Bryce Harper. He has the talent to turn it around. So the big test is tomorrow. But if he goes through 7 innings, minimally scathed, maybe a couple of runs, 5 or 6 hits. Dude, if he gave up 7 hits and it's 3 runs and it's the Phillies, that's a better outing than Chris Bassett just put out there. Not that they're not trying to shoot at shot at any players here. I do have a feeling that a lot of players are kind of checked out because they season's done. Doesn't really mean shit. Like, each starter has like 4-ish starts left-ish, depending on what they do with the off days and extra rest or everything. And if they bring in the 6-man rotation, despite that being a very controversial topic, apparently. There's not a lot that can happen to a pitcher's numbers to change it for the year, unless obviously you give up 7 runs in the first inning. But like, I wouldn't be shocked if a Chris Bassett or like a Kevin Gausman or even like a Bowden Francis kind of meant. I guess not Francis because he's fighting for next year, but the guys who are like locked in for next year, like Chad Green, Chris Bassett, Gausman, Brios, maybe even a Vladdy, kind of start to mentally check out a bit. Just because not a whole lot. I mean, Vladdy will see more damage to his stats than like a Bassett or a Gausman will.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I think Vladdy is going to keep taking this serious and like trying to amp up the team because he's taken that leadership role, like trying to keep everyone happy. And you could see him like super happy, win or lose lately, and just trying to help these boys win. And it's really good. But you could tell like they're trying. Like Vladdy doesn't take days off, and he has 2 days off in the last like week or something. So it's like they're obviously going to take a load off his back, but I don't think like he's going to take it any slower. For the pitchers that are keyed in, obviously, yes, I think with this, you could tell with this pitching staff when they're all in the zone, they're all in the zone, but they all fluctuate in their performance. And like this year, ever since, the start of the year really, but I could tell since the deadline, it seems like Gausman and Barrios, maybe Barrios like sometimes, it just seems like he's struggling some starts. He seems like he's very hittable. Like he was, what year was it that he was super hittable? Like his
22.
His first 22, yeah. It seems like he's going back to that, but then he'll just turn it around again. But I don't know. I feel like they're not helping each other, whereas Brandon Francis has something to prove. So he's going out there, he's trying his best, and he's actually like giving us some wins. I don't know. He's 8-3. It's like, damn, maybe he's a big part of this turnaround. Like these young guys playing. I don't know. You said that in a few podcasts, or maybe it was the last one. It's been so fucking long, but the young guys are playing, and it's fun to watch. But we're winning too much.
Yeah, letting the kids play was basically the only thing I asked for. And that included, it was basically the trades. The Yusei Kikuchi trade was basically the one where I was like, you just got to let these guys play.
Right.
Because I was the only one that I like really looked at. I was like, that the guys in this trade are the ones who are going to make an MLB impact in the next year, right?
Right.
Like a Clase is probably still a year away. As much as I want to watch him, he probably is still a year away with swing decisions and getting consistent, contact and just hitting the ball everywhere. He's got MLB ready talents in like speed and power, but the contact if it's not there on AAA, it's not going to be there in the bigs.
Right.
And then other guys are just in AA, so it doesn't really matter. Jake Bloss, I think, will probably make a start in the next week or two. Just because it seems like there's an inning cap on the starters, which I totally agree with at this point in the year. There's no point to push these guys, even though they are workhorses. There's absolutely zero reason to push a Gausman, a Brios, a Bassett longer than they have to go, especially when they're not going to win a Cy Young this year. You guys aren't making the playoffs. There's no point. Yariel's goddamn fatigued. Like, he is just, he needs to hit the pen for the rest of the season. And, like, piggyback him with Jake Bloss. They're doing Jake Bloss, like, 3-4 inning starts in AAA. Let him do that in the bigs. Have him do 3-4 innings. And then have Yariel do 2. And then I don't really give a shit who comes in after that because they won't be here next year. And then just kind of roll it like that. Like, I'd be disappointed if guys like Bowden Francis, Addison Barger, Will Wagner, Joey Loperfido, Ernie Clement, Leo Jimenez, if those guys weren't taking advantage of this like really rare opportunity that is in front of them, where they have the chance to earn a spot on a team that aims to be World Series contenders the next year. You don't get that as a young prospect with as much time as they've been given. You get that on an Oakland A's or a Chicago White Sox where you're not good. So seeing that some of these guys are like taking that step, like Barger hitting the ball hard and actually hitting it, awesome. Bowden Francis, I mean, what else do you have to say? Leo Jimenez throwing his body around it, a home run today. Got me a little excited. I was like, could you imagine? Ernie Clement's going to be a 3-WAR player this year. I would have laughed if you told me that at the beginning of the year. Not because I don't think Ernie's a good player. I didn't think he'd ever get enough opportunities to play every day. It's just, it's nuts. Vladdy's a 5-WAR player. That's sick. Will Wagner's hitting 300, which is sick. Joey Loperfido's hitting the ball. And, I mean, Joey Loperfido could hit it a little bit more. But they're hitting, they're pitching for the most part. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done between tonight and the start of the 2025 MLB season. Did I just stun you with how good I was? I stunned you with how good I was, didn't I? I stunned you with how good I was.
I wish. Yes, I was so stunned. No, I was absolutely stunned. More stunned than I am with Ernie Clement, because Ernie Clement hitting more than 10 home runs is crazy.
Ernie Clement having a higher WAR than Anthony Volpe? Nuts. Gleyber Torres?
No. Talk about taking what you're given. I think he's taken what he's been given and he's ran with it. And I think he's, up to this point, more than solidified himself to be on this team next year easily. I mean,
agreed.
Okay.
If they don't sign Bregman next year, Ernie's day one third baseman. Unless they face a righty, in which case maybe they give it to Barger.
Which helps the Blue Jays in expanding their,
resources,
horizon when signing in the offseason. They don't really have to look for a third baseman, because I was looking, there's not a big depth chart in terms of the
Bregman or bust, and I just Bregman's salivating at this because he's like, well, Houston's gonna want me back, the Yankees are gonna want a third baseman, the Blue Jays are gonna want a third baseman, the Royals are competitive, they'll probably want a real third baseman, Seattle. I don't know who Seattle has at third base. I could be completely blanking on some dude who's a stud. The Mets don't really have a real third baseman. Like, dude, he's salivating. He's like, he could. I wouldn't have put him over 150. But if his market gets crazy, he could break 200, which is nuts. Overpay. Nuts.
Well, the market for third base has really went down. There's only a select few fucking good defensive, let alone offensive third basemen in the league. So it's very important.
That's why go ahead. That's why Orelvis Martinez, to me, is like such an X factor. So I know not the exact series, but I know the stretch where he returns from suspension. It's the final week of the season. It's either the Boston series or it's the Miami series. But he gets 3 to 6 games back from suspension. The Jays are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to play him, because why wouldn't you? Give him the shot. That dude's an X factor for next year if he could be something. Like he could be, if they wanted to do like a second base split where it's like, I don't know, like let's say it's Wagner and Martinez as the second baseman. And then it's like Horwitz is platooning at first, or like maybe getting a rep or two in right field or something like that. Like Aralvis is going to play a part next year in spring training at least.
Yeah, we have so many rookies and platoon guys that could play around the middle infield. Like you could just swap them around and stuff, that it's like it gives us an outlet to like, train these guys, like because they don't really have like a position they're going to play for the rest of their career as of yet. So that now is the stage where you want to like, play around with some things, especially if you need more depth in a certain area. So,
well, I mean, look at Edwin. Edwin Encarnacion was a third baseman to start his career.
Yeah, he was trash at third baseman.
Yeah, Bautista was also a third baseman before he was moved to right field. Just
I know, and both trash.
Yeah. So there's that. I just think Aralvis Martinez would have benefited so much if he just had good balls.
Oh my God.
If his nuts weren't bummed, that man would be just, that dude would be like pencil. We probably wouldn't have Will Wagner, like realistically, because of where Aralvis would be playing. So I mean, like, I guess there was a positive that came out of it. But like that dude could be playing third base right now. He could be a shortstop. Like he would have benefited so much from uncompetitive at bats where it's like there wasn't pressure. No one's coming for your spot because Bichette's got a bad leg. But no.
Nope. He got and fucked it up. I mean, what are we going to do? I honestly, until you mentioned him, like, deadass, like, forgot he existed for this year.
I forgot about it too. It was like mid-August. And then I like a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago, I was like, holy shit, Aralvis Martinez should be back sort of soon, hey? So I went back, I tracked what day he got suspended for, and I counted. And it was like, I think it was like it's back on like the 21st or something like that. 21st or 23rd. Whatever that Monday is, he gets back.
I was kind of up, like, I don't know, up in the air when they said they were ready to compete next year. And honestly, like the way it's looking right now, I can 100% see how we turn this around in one season.
Oh yeah, all you gotta legitimately, all they have to really realistically do is just build a bullpen and sign another starter. Now, building a bullpen's not easy to do, but there's like a Tanner Scott's out there, Jimmy Garcia's out there, Jeff Hoffman. God, there's others that I'm missing, but like those are the three right off the top of my head that I'm like, if you wanted to make a run at building a bullpen, you go for those guys. There's probably a lefty in there too. I think AJ Minter's a free agent. That dude's legit.
I need to look more into like the bullpen end of things because we will make a couple moves for sure. We have to. Our bullpens. But at the same time, we do have some underrated pieces just injured and haven't been playing. And then when is what's the last thing on
Romano's not coming back this year. There's no shot.
No, I know. But next year.
Next year. Next year I don't think he's. I don't think next year they have a legitimate closing role. I think they're gonna 50-50 the duties right down the middle. Jordan Romano, Chad Green. Because we've seen Chad Green getting fatigued down the line. Jordan Romano's got fatigued down the line. Like those guys, probably can't do this, 50 innings a year. Like you're gonna have to do one and then the other. So if Green saves game one, and then you don't need a closer for game two, you go to Romano for game three, type of thing, or like vice versa. Like I wouldn't pitch Romano in a closing situation versus the Yankees next year, because they have his number, but they don't do well against Chad Green.
Right.
So, like, there's matchups in there that I would play. So, yeah.
Well, and we have to really see how he's going to rebound after an injury.
Yeah.
Like, as big as the one he's had. So, be interesting. But if he comes back healthy, he's good. Chad Green's good. Then you got two guys in the back
Swanson's
end
gonna
that
be.
really, yeah,
I like
hopefully back
Swanson.
to normal. Yeah.
Henny's gonna be there. I like him. I like him as a sixth inning guy. He's getting used a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
higher leverage than he should be, and it's just because there's literally no one else.
He's been good though.
Yeah, he
He's
has been
really
good.
saved this season.
I wouldn't bring Ryan Burr back. I definitely wouldn't bring
No.
Zach Pop back. I could name about 7 guys on my local slow pitch team that would be better. Um, I Brendan Little, like he deserves it, and I'd be okay with it, but not in like a high leverage role, like a very similar to what Henny was last year, where you're in the 6th inning. If shit gets
Right.
messy, then you're in.
But he could get replaced easily. Like we could
Yeah,
go out and get
like
somebody that replaces him.
if we got a proper, another lefty reliever, Brendan Little's not there.
Right.
So yeah, I do know the starter I like.
To pick up in the off season.
I want Walker Buehler. I know it's like I don't know his value, which is like kind of my number one issue. I don't think he's gonna be worth more than 15 a year, just because of injuries. He's not having a great year. He's an easy candidate on like a Robbie Ray-esque deal with more money attached, obviously, because he's done shit before. And he's a good guy to kind of just slot in there. Same with Luis Severino. Those are kind of like the two dudes who I'm like, those are great like 1-year options where it's like, hey, if you do this, you're in it. Or they go the Shane Bieber 2-year route and be like, we'll give you, next year to kind of build up, and then we'll give you an option year for the second year if you want it. Something like that. Like I wouldn't put long-term money into another starter quite yet because you don't know what you got with a guy like Trey Savage, Ricky T, Brandon Barriera when he kind of gets going, Jake Bloss.
Yeah, and we still got a lot in the system to work with, plus the guys we've already have long term, and Manoa. I mean, not to mention Manoa.
Manoa's not a factor until about May. I don't think Tiedemann's going to be a factor at all next year, just because of when he got Tommy John.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked. But like Trey Savage is going to start the year in Double A, and he's like early signs indicate he's a 2026 potential dude in the rotation, which is nuts. Jake Bloss is going to be in that rotation one way or another next year, which is why I say it's going to be a 6-man rotation, despite that not being a very highly perceived thought.
I mean, I think at least for half of the season, because we got to figure some shit out. And like, I think you're right, and I think we do go and get at least 1 or 2 rentals on the arm side. Like, give them 1 year. Like, okay, we need you for this year to be good. If you're, good, like you can be, we'll pay you more if you want to stay long term. But if not, then get the fuck out of here, type of thing.
Yeah.
Because we do need like more depth, and seeing how our Gosmans and Barrios and like just how our pitchers have really came into this year like on a downswing. It's like really concerning because they're all getting older.
Even
they're not young.
I know they're all getting a year older wasn't the best analysis, but like we've seen the fatigue set in. They're workhorses throughout their career. At some point, that arm's going to begin to give out,
Right.
And it comes with age. So you want to get rid of the extra age thing. A 6-man rotation benefits the Blue Jays because it saves arms in the bullpen. It allows you to give your starting pitchers an extra day rest. They can be a little bit sharper. I know pitchers are very routine oriented. So if you tell them at the beginning of the offseason, like if you were to tell them October 1st, hey, we're rolling with a 6-man rotation next year, get into that routine. They're professionals. They're going to do it. It benefits the Blue Jays because then they can go out and get another guy, and like that 6th guy doesn't have to be someone who's going to give you 7 innings. It can be a very much a Jake Bloss, Yariel Rodriguez, like backpack day where it's like one goes 5, the other goes 3, and then you get someone to go 1. And then that allows a guy like Bowden Francis, who earned his rotation spot for next year, assuming no injuries, to kind of go in, along with the three-ish other guys, and then a Jake Bloss. But then that's not like a competition, like a competing rotation yet. That's where you go out and you get another guy.
That's proven MLB ready. Yeah, I agree.
I will say today, though, I saw that Corey Popham, the pitching coordinator, he basically oversees the development of young pitchers, was fired. He's been with the Blue Jays for 6 years. Also worth noting, the Jays have only had ever properly produced one starter technically under his watch, and that was Alek Manoah. Because both Stroman and Sanchez were before him. Because he would have come in like 2018, 2019-ish. So yeah, basically Manoah is his only success story. So hopefully, maybe that means something changes.
If
you can't develop pitching, you just can't win. It's simple.
And that's a good sign too, that they're willing to, get rid of some guys on the management side, because we all know it needs to happen.
I have a new theory. And it's not really a new theory, but it's Will's new idea of what's going on. Don Mattingly and Guillermo Martinez have been silent fired. They're still on the team. They're going to let them ride out the rest of the year, but they are both aware that they don't have a job next year. And I think the rest of the team is kind of aware of that, because I haven't seen a single hitter in the last month talk to either one of them. Matt Hague is talking with every hitter. Every hitter is going up and talking to Matt Hague. Not a single person is asking Don Mattingly a thought. John Schneider's right-hand guy was Don Mattingly at the beginning of the year. It's DeMarlo Hale, as it should have been. Honestly, up until today, I kind of forgot they were both on the squad until they were shown. Like, you don't hear anything about them anymore. They aren't brought up. Mm-hmm. You don't see a George Springer or a Vladdy sitting and talking with them, because they're all sitting and talking with Matt Hague. And there's a reason. They aren't just going up to Matt Hague when there's a guy like Don Mattingly. When they have a lead offensive coordinator and they're going to the second string hitting coach, there's besides the fact the numbers back themselves up, there's something more in there that no one is talking to Guillermo Martinez or Matt Hague visibly, at least in the dugout during the game.
Right, and they're starting to, like you said, until today, I haven't seen them shown once. And Matt Hague's seems to be in every discussion right in the middle of the players, especially the young guys. I mean, why wouldn't they?
As he should be.
Exactly. And it's proven, literally, look at how this team's performing in the last month and a half, since the deadline. We are legitimately one of the better offensive teams since then.
Yeah.
When it comes to hitting the ball hard, squaring the ball up, driving runs in, it's turned around a full 360. So I think you're right. And it was bound to happen eventually. How long do you let it go on for? But it actually is crazy how they've gotten erased from everything. I really haven't seen them at all.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if Guillermo Martinez is kept in maybe a different role, but I don't see it being anything like hitting wise. Maybe he's an on-field defensive dude, because I do think he probably has something there, and the Jays seem to be more willing to stay with him. But there's no shot Don Mattingly's back next year. His role has been completely replaced by DeMarlo Hale and Matt Hague. When Edwin's there, Edwin's talked to more than anyone besides Matt Hague.
Right.
So it's and it's not just the young guys either.
Right.
Justin Turner was talking with Matt Hague beforehand. Kirk's a young guy technically. Same with Vladdy, but Springer's out there talking with Matt Hague every day.
Right.
Also, Matt Hague noticed a difference within a fucking month with George Springer. It took him a week to fix that. These two idiots, that Dumb and Dumber, they were putting a square in a circle.
Yeah.
It's so nuts.
you could tell a major league difference.
Yeah.
You could
Well, you
just
can tell through production now at this point. The offense is back. So I don't know if you know this. I don't know how much Blue Jay baseball you've been watching over the last couple weeks. So when Cincinnati came to town, mysteriously Don Mattingly disappeared. Now we learned that's because he had an injury or something, and he had to get he got like a surgery. His shoulder was screwed up because he couldn't swing a baseball bat, and so they threw him in a sling. Miraculously, at that point, the Blue Jays also started pulling the ball and hitting the ball better than they'd ever had done before in this year. Like, that was their best 2-week stretch in the season, basically, almost in 2 years.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Don Mattingly comes back in the middle of the Boston series, and the offense kind of slows down, and it's kind of picking up again. Now, obviously, Matt leaving and then coming back isn't the reason this is happening. Like, it wasn't like a light switch. Like, it obviously was building up. It's not an entire coincidence that when Don Mattingly leaves, this team turns into 2021 Toronto and 2015 Toronto. There is something else that was happening behind the scenes that switched a little bit. And yeah, dude.
I have been watching, obviously still a very good amount. Obviously there's a few days where I couldn't, but again, I would like to blame it on him because obviously he's not a good hitting coach. I don't think he belongs in that position at all. Maybe with the White Sox, God help them. But I also think this is a very, very, very young team, and it's bound to happen where you have ups and downs, and one day you can't hit a beach ball, one day you're hitting everything, scoring 7 runs in an inning.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, I think maturity and age has to do with that too, like the upswings and downswings. I think that's going to happen for the rest of the year. And it's just like a part of this team's DNA. I think the pitching is going to continue to be really bad out of the bullpen. But again, I think the young guys, it has more to do with that because I don't see this team being the best offensive team until the end of the year because of the lack of experience in testing out new bats and where they're playing and yada yada yada. So I would love to blame it more on him, but I think it's more of a lack of experience, and these guys are just coming up.
Also a really big aspect to why the offense is a little bit better than it was before is when you replace aging bats that swing slow with young guys who want to prove something, whose bat speed is 15 miles an hour faster. Obviously, exaggeration. You're bound to get a little bit more offense out of it. And Jays are just kind of, they're reaping the highs and lows of it, sort of like the 2022 Baltimore Orioles in a sense, where there was, in some weeks they were really damn good, and then the other weeks, they wouldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat, So it's one of those things.
Pains.
Yeah. And honestly, we'll probably feel it a bit in April and May next year too. Just, it's how it is. I just expect it to be, the peaks and the valleys won't be as volatile because I don't think as many young guys will be playing as we have right now. I mean, obviously, and I know, we'd be pretty stupid to roll this exact roster back in, minus, or exact lineup, offensive structure back in. Like Bichette, I'd say I'm still leaning towards the fact that he'll probably play in 2025 with the Jays. I do lean towards that. So there, take Leo Jimenez out. You've added a veteran. They're going to sign a Tyler O'Neill or a Teoscar Hernandez. Well, that's going to take away, at bats from either a Horwitz or a Loperfido or a Wagner or a Barger, because they're either going to be in the DH role or they're going to be in left field. So, bam, now you've taken 2 young guys out and you've replaced it with a bit more steady stream.
Right.
And I think that's fine.
That's pretty standard, I think, to get these growing pains out the way. So, I don't know. We got an exciting off season. I'm excited to see what we do.
I'm more excited about this off season than I was last off season.
Right. Because there's more that has to be done. before we expected some things to be done, but now we have to do things. And there's no reason we don't. Like if we go out and do nothing after offering Otani what we did last season, it's like what are we doing? There's no way around it.
And it's like the thought of the unknown. Like we don't really know past September 29th what the fuck's going to happen. We don't know who is going to be in the dugout next year. We don't know if the people who look over this team the last almost 10 years are going to be the same people looking over the team. Like, you know, I'd still lean towards probably Ross Atkins will be back with Shapiro. Just because 1 year left on his contract, it probably makes sense. And Shapiro has never been one to get rid of Ross Atkins just because they're butt buddies. But, like, you know.
Dual role.
There's two roles in the dugout. Three people, two roles, and I'm kind of convinced stay the same, that are like major players in the dugout. John Schneider's back next year because to me, he's not exactly a huge part of the problem. I actually haven't really looked at his managing in the last 2 months. Is like, what the hell are you doing? I don't know if that's because the season doesn't mean anything or if there's not as many guys there. But like, I haven't had much to complain about with him. He's rolled out really good lineups. The bullpen moves make sense, even though the guys aren't there. DeMarlo Hale's going to be back, in my humble opinion, next year. That's a Blue Jay dude. You know, like I look at him and he screams Blue Jay. He'll probably be in the same role. Matt Hague will be back next year, but in a different role, in my opinion. After that, MP Walker. For the most, I'd assume. I'd be really shocked if P. Walker wasn't there next year. As in like significant roles. So like, you know, I don't think Don's going to be back. I don't think Guillermo's going to be back. I think for Edwin, it's more of an Edwin choice than a Blue Jay choice. Like I think he's like a hitting consultant or whatever, or like advisor. And then like Budzinski and like Fables like doesn't really matter. You know, like you could have a monkey out at third base or at first base, you know. Like
yeah, it's not not necessarily hard, like comparatively.
I put a lot more emphasis on third base, obviously. Like you could have a toddler out at first base. It wouldn't really matter. And then like other than that, like Gil Kim, I don't really like. I guess he's like a defensive whatever I don't know what the fuck his role is. I just hear his name all the time, and I don't know what he does.
But like, looks pretty.
Yeah, like there's very few roles that are confirmed for next year, and it rolls on the roster too. Like, only a handful of guys are guaranteed a spot next year. Like, Addison Barger isn't guaranteed a spot next year. Neither is Ernie Clement. Neither is, you know, Spencer Horwitz or a Will Wagner.
Everyone that we're trying out right now is
like Varsho, Springer, Vladdy, Barrios, Gosman are the ones that I look at. I'm like, hey, you're in the same exact role next year.
Yeah.
Bassett could be traded. I don't think he does, but he could be traded. Or he's a fifth inning, or he's your number 5 starter. You know, Chad Green will be there next year, but in what role? I don't know. Same with Swanson, same with Henny. Other than that, I could just go all night, and I don't want to.
Yeah, the only thing I see, like, I don't know. Well, no, actually, there's tons up in the air for me because people forget, like, you could trade in the off season. Sometimes people forget because, like, you're like, oh, who are we going to sign? Who are we going to sign? We could definitely make some trades and, like, then, you know, sign. But John Schneider, I just don't know. That's hard for me because, like, it really depends what the players see and what actually happens in the dugout because you don't know who's in his ear at the start of the year and who's not in it now, who's making the decisions, who's making the calls. And like I see reporters still and the media in general just going crazy on him, like kind of making fun of him. Like, for example, literally today after the game, they're like, oh, John Schneider's about to talk. I wonder what he's gonna say. And they were like, probably. What was his famous quote?
Oh, tip
You
a
gotta
cap.
give.
You gotta tip your
Yeah,
cap
yeah,
to the
yeah,
other team. Yeah.
yeah. So
What?
the
That's like, what
reporters,
else are you
the
gonna say when you
reporters.
get, it shoved down your throat for 9 innings?
But anyway,
Yeah.
they were saying like, what's he gonna say? Tip of the cap, maybe, and they both chuckled, and I'm like, the way he's looked at because of little things like that, it's like, is that really gonna affect if a manager is moved? And it has in the past, like, had a bad effect on whether you stay or go. So John Schneider, I don't think he's a lock, but I could see him staying. I don't think he's necessarily done anything bad, but I could see him going for sure. Everybody else, I agree. Like everyone else that you said, Pete Walker, Hale, all of them, I think they stay, but John Schneider's the only one that I could see. Well, like I don't know who replaces him. Like I don't even want to start to think who the fuck we get to replace him, but
Don Mattingly.
I don't know. Yeah, seriously.
Oh,
But yeah.
To me, John Schneider's job lock percentage relies on Ross Atkins. If Ross Atkins is back next year, you lock it in that John Schneider's going to be back next year, because if Ross Atkins fires John Schneider, it's the third manager he's fired in his tenure as a Blue Jay GM. He fired Gibbons, which, I mean, like, that was inevitable. Like, that was going to happen. He fired Montoya, sorry. And, like, again, it makes sense, But, like, if he just fired Montoya, and then we're already 3 years later, not even 2.5 years later, it's like, if he fires another one, it's a bad look, and it draws away people from, like, oh, I want to work under Ross Atkins, to, oh, he fires his managers every 3 years. Fuck him. Because that's kind of the average he's on right now.
Yeah, I totally forgot. That does play a fact into
so
it.
If Atkins is gone, I think Schneider's job lock percentage goes down. But I also said there's not a lot of great options unless you go for a young guy. And a young guy's better for a rebuilding team. Like a Grady Sizemore fits better in a Chicago situation than he would have in like a Toronto situation. Because could you imagine the outrage if we fired Schneider at the end of last year and we bring in a new guy like Grady Sizemore? Again, he's just the youngest manager, just kind of like on my mind that's new in the league.
Right.
And the Jays bring in this effort this year. Dude, Grady Sizemore's castrated. Like, he would be the most hated man in baseball, or not in Toronto. Because he'd be looked at as like, whoa, look at what the common denominator was. Schneider was really good.
Right.
Like the perspective would change. Like, look at the perspective on Charlie. Like, that's already changed.
It's a tough situation that we're in because like we're underperforming no matter who's in that position, and who's to say, like, obviously we don't know if bringing someone new into this year would have benefited us, but obviously Schneider was great before this year, or people thought he was great, right? We were winning and we were expected to win more. But yeah, it's such an ugly position to be in as a GM and a manager when shit just hits the fan. Like this year has really been like no one expected us to be bad right now. Settling to like revamp and get ready for next year and not make a push right now, So a season like this just fucking sucks for that position, and I feel bad for Schneider, really.
Yeah. I have higher faith in him now than I would have at the beginning of the year. The way it ended in 23, if he wasn't back, I wasn't mad. Like, I would have been like, whatever. Like, I don't really care.
On to the next one.
Yeah, I look at it now. If he isn't back next year, then there's a long list of other people who need to be gone way before him. Right. And like, the list, your number one target is going to be Ross Atkins. then to me the next one's, you got to look at Mattingly, you got to look at Guillermo, you probably look at Shapiro. I doubt it, but like you look at them.
Yeah.
I have
No
no
one's
issues
safe.
with Shapiro. And then the analytic department has to fucking go. Like it has to go. If you're letting Schneider go, there's a long list of names that has to be given the get the fuck out before him.
Right, it's a fire sale. Everyone's gone.
Yeah, and I don't think for a team that wants to compete in 2025, you're not going to completely revamp a dugout. And
exactly,
a major part of that is the manager. He's the voice of reason, and whether people like it or not, a huge reason the Jays kind of turned it around in 2022 was because of John Schneider. And he has his moments. They were a little bit few and far between in the last year or so. But if he showed a lot of potential in 22, it didn't show up in 23. I still have him kind of penciled in as my manager next year. Yeah.
Right. And people forget that he's still like a brand new manager in terms of in the MLB, the major leagues.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the major leagues for like what? It's been
3 years.
Oh my God, time flies. Yeah, time flies. I was going to say 2, but
he was the bench coach in 22. Might even been the bench coach in 21. I'm not 100% sure. But like he's been a Blue Jay lifer. Like he won with, Vladdy and Bo and Biggio and and Dunedin. And then I think he won not in Double A. I think he might have been with Vancouver when they won. I'm not too sure. Unless I'm getting all my years mixed up. But I'm Buffalo, he's won with Buffalo. Like he's won with the young guys that we have.
Right. The franchise, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like I wouldn't want to give up on a manager that's shown the potential in the minor leagues because, as much of an adapting period it is for players, it's the same with managers. It's not the same game because so much, every pitch means just that much more. So I wouldn't want to give up on him prematurely and him turning into like a Bruce Bochy. Now, exaggeration, like that's like extremes. Like if he's a Cito Gaston or like a John Gibbons for the Blue Jays, not that those two are in the same tier, obviously very different tiers. If he's like a John Gibbons for the second part of John Gibbons for like the next 5 years of the Jays, perfect. Right. What more do you need? You have a guy who sticks up for your players, a guy who's probably going to manage a bit more with his guts than listening to the weird computer guys who tell him to try and calculate baseball. And maybe he gets ejected a couple more times a year because I like that.
Shows heart and integrity.
Yeah,
I agree. It's an old man's job. Some people would say because like you need experience and he's barely got any major league experience in terms of the whole scale and his role in the MLB. So I agree, he could definitely get better. And with whether that's with this team as the head coach or not, like in the future we're gonna see like really fast.
Yeah, they're trying to modernize a role that can't be modernized. You can't change the way a head coach or a manager in any sport goes about his business because it's such a unique role that changes on a day-to-day basis. It even changes on an hour-to-hour basis. It is something, a computer can't calculate the importance of a situation. A manager can look and go, man, this computer is telling me that, Chad Green is just lighting the world on fire right now. But my gut is seeing that, his fastball doesn't have the life it does, or maybe his curveball isn't breaking the way it should, or man, he's pitched 4 to the last 5 games. But man, Eric Swanson, he's on a bit of a heater. Maybe the numbers aren't there, but like the fastball, fastball's got a little bit zip. That splitter, it's ducking and diving a little bit more. and he's a little bit more rested, and maybe he favors in, maybe he's seen, a Harper and a Turner a couple more times than a Chad Green does, or maybe they've seen him less, and that plays into it. That's not something a computer can calculate. That's something that your gut can do. So that's just kind of my thought on modernizing the position.
Yeah, I think Whoa, we're back.
Hello.
I I heard most of that, but then it started wiggling at the end.
No. Basically, it's just
Uh-oh.
you can't
Don't look at me with those glitchy eyes.
You can't modernize the position because it's forever a position that you have to manage with your gut based off the situation of a game.
I agree. And like stats aren't everything. Analytics aren't everything. Analytics have taken over the game, and obviously it's a big part, but like you said, you have to feel your gut sometimes, your intuition, and sometimes even if you're doing good in the game of baseball, you get tired. You're human, and I don't know.
Look at some of the World Series managers over the last little bit. It's
situations that you have to.
I think we both glitched at the same time.
For me, I talked like 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, so I was saying, look at some of the World Series manager winners from the last little bit. 2019, you have Davey Martinez, an old schoolish manager, doesn't really run the analytics. Then you get Dave Roberts in 2020, weird year, whatever, Mickey Mouse, whatever, old-ish school manager, probably doesn't run the analytics as much. Brian Snitker, a lifer manager, was brought up, through the managing with your gut. Fucking Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker in 22 and 23. 2018, Alex Cora, a bit more of a new age manager. Same with AJ Hinch. Obviously, there's a little something extra that helped them win that. Joe Madden in 2016. Fucking Ned Yost in 2015. Bochy again in 2014 and 2012 and 2010. Fucking, I think it was Mike Matheny in 2011 with the Cardinals.
Holy moly, man.
And then I don't remember who was 2013 for the Red Sox for some reason. But it's like old school managers win because they manage with their gut, not with the fucking numbers on the computer. But also shout out Will for getting all that.
Right.
Quickly.
Yeah, holy, I would never pull that out of my ass like you just did.
I'm looking up the 2013 Red Sox real quick. If it loads,
My memory with names is so bad.
John
I don't
Farrell.
know how.
Holy shit, I forgot about that. I thought John Farrell was 2014 for them. I forgot he was 2013. He fucking snaked the Blue Jays, this sneaky prick.
John Farrell, bro. I was literally that's who I was thinking, because I was gonna say John Farrell because I was like, what year did he snake the Blue Jays?
I thought he was 2013 manager left, and then Gibbons came in 14. But it was obviously Gibby came in 13, and he left in 2012. Man. Right, he was only here he was here the first year.
So crazy.
Well, that's one in 20. I mean, Joe Girardi, 2009.
Slide.
I don't remember the Phillies manager. No way. But I was also 6. So.
Ooh. Yeah. 08. God. They were fun. Phillies. I remember watching that postseason. Mm-hmm.
Was 2007 the Red Sox?
Remember who?
I think it was.
07 was.
I think it was the Red Sox. Because they won in 04. That broke the curse. Then they won in 07 and then 13 and then 18, I'm pretty sure. Because they got 5. 06,
I have no idea.
06, I don't know.
Remember
05 was the White Sox.
Yeah.
And then we're getting into like where it gets a little fuzzy, where it's like where was Florida, where was Arizona when they beat the Yankees? Just trying to get Arizona was 01. I know that. Craig Counsell, I believe it was. I think it was the like go ahead run in the 8th inning or something of Game 7. I'm in there.
That's fucking crazy. Okay, let's go through the line. I'll test you right now. Okay, so 2023.
2023.
Who was the winner?
You gotta let me bring my brain back.
Obviously.
2023 was Texas against Arizona.
Okay, and then
you got Houston over Philly. Houston over Philly.
Okay.
Then you get Atlanta over Houston.
21.
Atlanta over Houston.
Right.
And then 2020 was the Dodgers over the Rays because we were robbed of a Dodgers-Astros rematch. Dodgers-Rays.
All right, 19.
19 was the Nationals over the Astros.
That's one that would probably slip my mind. Just because, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, right. I just remember because I have Daniel Hudson's celebration, like, engraved in my brain.
Okay, 18.
18 was the Red Sox over the Dodgers. That's the one I forgot about, too. Chris Sale struck out Manny Machado to win the World Series.
I can't even remember why Boston was good that year.
Alex Cora. But they also like had a really good roster. They MVP Mookie, they had Xander Bogaerts, Rafi Devers, JD Martinez was the DH. The rotation was Sale and Price is like their 1-2 punch. Price is really good in the playoffs. Rick Porcello was kind of still there. Kimbrel was really good. I think they had Mitch Moreland. That might have been 16. Bro.
My guess was going to be right, but I didn't say it. You were right about 07, by the way. It was Boston. And then I was going to say, St. Louis. Like, I knew the Cardinals won.
Oh, no, Boston over St. Louis was 2013.
It was... So 07 was Boston over the Rockies, and then the year before were the Cardinals over the Tigers. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because So we're in 2017, which was Dodgers over Houston. 2016 was Cubs over Indians, Guardians, whatever. 2015 was Royals over Mets. Should have been the Blue Jays. 2014 was Giants over Royals. 2013 was Red Sox over Cardinals. Koji Uehara with the save. Don't know why I know that. 2012 was the Giants over the Rangers.
Nope.
Was it the Tigers that year? Shit, I thought Tigers were 2010. Then it's 2011 is it's St. Louis over Texas. David Freese will see you tomorrow night. That was like that's a childhood like memory.
Legendary year.
That was legendary.
Right. Yeah, me too.
2010 was then San Francisco over Texas. 2009 was the Yankees over the Phillies. That was the year Roy Halladay should have won a World Series because he had a perfect game and a no-hitter that year. Then in 2008, you have the Phillies. I'm not sure.
This is a tough one. I'd be shocked if you get this right.
Trying to think.
I can't remember them being this good. But actually, I think you would remember if you think about the roster. Think about a big comeback. I think that was this year. Think about a big comeback.
Not the Red Sox.
No, it was Tampa. I think it was Evan Longoria. He hit that home run over the small wall. I think that was this year.
I thought that was 2013. 2013 he did.
It might have been. I don't know.
I do. Yeah, now that the Rays were, it was like 1 or 2 really good years, and then 2007 was Red Sox over Rockies. It was a sweep. I think it was Tulowitzki's rookie year. 2006.
I said this because I did remember this one. For some reason, because I watched it on YouTube not too long ago.
I didn't listen, unfortunately.
It's the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, Cardinals. Oh, is this Cardinals over Yankees?
No, this is Cardinals over the Tigers.
Right. Tigers were kind of good for a few years.
Then 05, I think
05 was White Sox, but I don't remember who they were over. Was it no, not the Padres.
Astros.
I was going to say the Padres. I knew the Astros would have been in there at some point, but I thought they were maybe 04. Because I guess 05 would have been Beltran's. It was like Beltran, Biggio, and then someone else. 2004. That's the Red Sox.
You know this.
That was the Red Sox. I don't remember who they were. I couldn't tell you who they were over, but I remember
Cardinals.
Cardinals? Damn, fuck the Cardinals, eh?
You just don't remember the Cardinals.
Because they came back 3-0 against the Yankees, and then the Yankees were 0-3?
Marlins beat the...
Great. See, this is when the Florida Marlins and the Arizona Diamondbacks kind of come into play their bullshit. Right, because the Yankees won 1999, 2000, then they lost in 01 to the Diamondbacks, and then I want to say they won 02.
Huh?
Yankees win 2002?
No, you went the wrong way. So it's 2000, 1999, and 1998.
Yeah, like the Yankees had the three-peat, and then 2001, the Diamondbacks beat them because that was the year of 9/11.
Yes.
And then in 2002, was that?
You will not get this. You will not get this. I don't think you'll get this.
So it wasn't the Yankees.
No. It's a team that's in the league, but they weren't playing in this part of the United States at the time. They moved.
Who moved? I don't want a hint. Who moved? Montreal moved in 04 to Washington. Who would have moved?
They moved now. They're not in the same place they were when they won.
Like they just moved? Like moved leagues or like moved geography, locations?
They moved locations. You know them like as the team they are now, but
don't want the hint because it's not the Expos because they left in 04.
It's gonna you're gonna be like, oh my god.
No, you're not telling me. Okay. So
I didn't know they won in 02, to be honest.
What league are they in?
Okay, who is the best player in 02?
Barry Bonds.
Okay, who? I think he would have been top 3 at this point, right?
I don't know.
What hint do you need?
What league are they in?
Oh my god, I wouldn't even know back then. I honestly don't know.
Okay, what league is the team in now?
It's just the Angels, bro. I didn't think this would be that difficult for you.
Dude, the Angels haven't moved. They just changed their name.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, in my defense, I didn't... Okay, it looks different on paper.
Yeah, because they're the California Angels, hey?
Right.
Yeah.
It says Anaheim Angels.
Yeah, well, they're still in Anaheim. They're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Okay, but that's stupid. Okay, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, the second name change was stupid. But you had me. I was like, "There's
what's the
next fucking team that moved." Well, now we're into 97. Oh.
No. You're in
2001 Diamondbacks. And then 2000, 1999, 1998 is the Yankees. And then in 97, fuck if I know at this point. Okay. Well, I can eliminate. It won't be the Padres. It's not the Mariners. It wouldn't be the Rangers. It wasn't the Astros. It wouldn't
Are we
be the
saying fuck this
Rockies.
podcast right now, or what?
I don't know. I'm just kind of too trippy. This is kind of fun. If I get this one wrong, we'll end the podcast.
You're getting this one wrong.
97. Okay, I have a really fun shot in the dark. And I don't think it's right, but I'm going for it. Is it the Minnesota Twins?
Oh, no.
Because I'm thinking the Twins with Jack Morris would have been kind of around then, but maybe a little bit before. Twins might have been 95.
I don't know if this helps, but they beat the Indians at the time.
Okay, so it's a National League team.
Yeah, National League.
Not the Dodgers. It's not the Giants.
They're a really bad team now.
It's not the Rockies. Because they've
never. Really bad team now.
Well, the Pirates aren't a really good team. No. But I don't think it's them. Is it? It's not. It's not the Reds, I don't think.
Now you're just shooting for a reaction.
No, I'm like guessing. I'm like trying to base off of who's it.
It might have been one of those two teams. I'm not going to tell you until you lock in your answer.
Well, I know it's not the Pirates. Trying to think. Because the Nationals weren't an NL East team then. It was the Expos. And the Expos never won.
Already up the list.
It wasn't. Wouldn't have been the Marlins. No, it was the Marlins. So it would have been the Marlins.
Unfortunately.
In 97.
Yeah, the Marlins won.
Yeah, because that was the year they acquired Miggy, I think. They had like Dontrell Willis. This was like year 4 or 5 in their existence. Yeah. Okay, so we continue.
Okay, well, 96. We're going to go to 1990.
1990? What the fuck? We're in 96, dog.
Yeah, we're going to go down until you get to 1990, and we'll see how you're doing.
96. I know the Twins are around here. The Twins are 91.
Wow. Holy good fucking pick. Holy shit.
I was like, because I know Jack Morris won with the Blue Jays. And then I didn't remember if it was Twins in 91 or 95. But I didn't think it was 95. So I shot 91 because then the Jays are 92, 93. There's no one in 94 because of the strike.
AL. It's an AL team.
96. It's going to be the Yankees.
It is the Yankees.
The Yankees, didn't the Yankees win in 95 too?
No.
No. Okay. I know it's not the Orioles. I don't know who would be on this team. They last won in the 80s. It's not the Jays. It's not the Red Sox. It's not the Rays because they don't even think they existed.
NL. This is NL.
In 95.
Yeah.
Not the Dodgers. Because they won in 88. Kirk Gibson. It's not the Giants. It's not the Diamondbacks. It's not the Rockies. It's not the Brewers. It's not the Cubs. It's not the Mets.
How do you eliminate these teams?
So some teams really I know haven't won a World Series. So the Rockies have never won a World Series. The Padres have never won a World Series. Right. The Dodgers had a 40-year drought almost, or like a 30-something year drought. And I know their last one was 88. The Cubs had that 100-year drought. The Nationals won't ever be one because the Expos weren't one. The Marlins' first one was like 66 or 96, sorry. And then the Mets was in the 80s. And I don't think the Braves ever won one technically with their core because they didn't win in 95. Did they win in 95? I don't think they did.
Is that your answer?
No. It's National League. It's not the Cardinals. It's not the Reds, I don't think. Funny
This
enough,
is
so
the
it's between.
year before.
Go ahead.
This is the year before, I think, the gap year.
95. 95 is the year after the gap year.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the year after, I meant to say.
It has to be so for me, it's between the Braves and the Pirates.
Who is it?
Because for the longest time, the NL West wasn't that great. And when I think of the 90s Braves, man, like, you just got some really good teams. If it's not the Braves, I'd be very disappointed. So I'm locking in the Braves.
It's the Braves.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sick. So now we're down to 1990.
Well, you got 93.
Well,
you got
Jays.
93 and 92.
Jays, Blue Jays, Twins.
Yeah.
1990.
Ooh. This was a sweep in 1990.
Oh, it's the Yankees.
It's not.
The Yankees always sweep. Fucking losers.
It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 years before the next Yankees chip. Or last chip, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get this one.
No, I will. So it's not the Mariners because they've never won. The Rangers only won last year. It can't be the Astros because they weren't there in the American League.
Nationals, I mean National League. I think yeah.
Okay. So National League.
Yeah.
It's not the Braves. It's 2 years after the Dodgers. The Cardinals had a bit of a drought.
Holy fuck.
What?
Nothing. Like nothing. There's no chance I'm getting any of these, by the way, except for the Blue Jays. I would get the Blue Jays, probably the Twins.
I'd rip Pirates. I don't think it's them, but I'm ripping them because I know they were really good kind of around this time.
Yeah, the Reds.
The Reds? Fuck, I said it wasn't the Reds. I thought they were a little bit before.
Yeah.
I don't know 89, but I know 88's the Dodgers because it was a split year. And it's also considered an asterisk. I want to say the A's.
So who won the next year?
In 89?
Yeah.
The A's?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. The Royals won in 85 because they beat the Blue Jays in the ALCS.
Again.
I'm honestly, I'm okay calling that one there. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah,
that was
wow.
Nuts.
Holy. I would not get half that shit. Like, wow.
Holy shit.
Okay, now we'll do that over with managers.
I could probably name a couple managers, not all. But I can name some.
Let's finish this fucking podcast before we do anything.
Okay, that's all. Thank you guys for watching and then listening to me kind of go through some trivia. I hope you guys played along as well. And well, maybe I might make a little video out of that little trivia point at the end. I think it'd be a good little fun video. And we'll get you all in the next podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff. Also, maybe a good discussion. Who knows? We'll let you all know in the next video. Peace.